welcome to Bolder Not Colder, and we have the pleasure of having Pastor Robert Lewis with us tonight. Here he is right there.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be here.
Thank you. And he's going to be teaching out of the book of Hebrew,
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Hebrews, depends on which.
However you want to say it, but we'll let him get started, okay?
Okie dokie.
All right.
Okie dokie. Get
Make yourself comfortable there,
my brains
Pastor.
over here set up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know, I love the book of Hebrews. I guess it's because everybody says it's so complicated. But the funny thing, it's not. It's like all the other books in the Bible. If you seek God, God will put it across to you. Now, I don't know, it's probably not important to anybody but me, but you read books and everybody wants to know who wrote the book of Hebrews. Well, first place, you know, and a lot of them say Paul. In fact, traditionally it was Paul. But I've seen, you know, people say, well, it was Apollos and it was, you know, somebody else and somebody and all this. And when you really get down to it, what difference does it make? Because the Bible says that scriptures are God-breathed. Holy men of old wrote, as they say, out of 2 Timothy. I'd give you the chapter some other day, but in Timothy it says that holy men of old spoke as they were led by the Spirit. So technically, all Spirit is given by inspiration of God, or literally God-breathed. So to our, you know, have you ever seen back in the old days when you used to have hand-typed letters and all that stuff? You got the bottom and you see at the very, after all is said, you see 3 capital letters, a slash, and then lowercase letters.
Right.
And the 3 big letters was who dictated the letter, and the lowercase was who actually typed it out. And I stop and think about that, and when all we're doing is we're arguing about those 3 lowercase letters down at the bottom. so, but I mean, but that's the thing. But you know, it's still it's interesting to think of. And I got this. I'm going to say God told me. Okay, argue it if you want. I hate to listen to people. Well, God said, but I was going to a Bible study at the prison up in Connecticut, and it's. Have you ever seen the cartoons where this little guy's sitting here and all of a sudden the light comes on and you see these little sparklies coming down in his head? I swear that's the way I felt.
It's okay, talk.
Okay.
And so, but what God showed me on this is Paul, I get in trouble for this, but I'll say it anyway. Paul was not supposed to go to Jerusalem. If you study it out, Paul missed it.
Okay.
Because if you read the book of Acts, you see it all the way through. He talks about, you know, and I could give you chapter and verse on it, but I'm not going to spend the whole night on this, so we'll go somewhere else. But they would talk about people would be praying, Paul, don't go to Jerusalem. And you know, and he'd tell them, no, I don't care if there are bonds and afflictions, I'm good for it, you know. And he wasn't a pastor. Look at Philippi.
Yeah.
When he was falsely arrested, you know, because of casting that demon out of that little girl, beaten, chained up, thrown in the dungeon at night, and him and Silas was in there praising God, singing praises unto God.
Right.
And, you know, then of course you know the story, the earthquake, the chains fell off, all the doors blew open,
Right.
and you know, but he had in Jerusalem when he got arrested that night. Jesus appeared to him, and the first words he said was, "Cheer up, Paul."
Yeah, what are you down about, Paul?
And nobody had laid a hand on him. I mean, he tried.
Yeah.
I love to read that story, but we don't have time to go into it. But when he was arrested in Jerusalem, but nobody touched him. but I think what happened was God had told Paul, don't, because if you study the map, Paul was going across the northern part of I think it was the Aegean Sea, but was going across from Philippi to Achaia, which is Corinth, and was going on there and was planning on going to Italy, Rome, and then on to Spain. And all of a sudden he says, no, I think I want to go to Jerusalem, because the Judaizers was saying everything they could to defile what he was saying, claiming that he was speaking against the Jewish religion, that he was telling people not to circumcise their children, and that, and all this stuff like that, and they didn't need to follow the law, and all kinds of stuff. You see it today in some of the more popular ministries that you read. I remember when I first got saved, when Copeland was really big. I mean, that man must have had horns and a tail from the stuff I heard.
You're right.
But I was one Sunday, and for some reason I couldn't go to church, and so I was sitting there, turned on the TV, and this real nice looking guy on there was talking really, kind of good old boy type talk, tell you a funny story, and get you laughing real good, and then hit you with a spiritual truth that just about knock you out of the chair. Wow, this guy's good,
Right.
And then it come up commercial time, and they were talking about, if you send money to Kenneth Copeland Ministries, then
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the way it is when God's working with you. The devil will come at you.
Oh, yeah.
Right.